Hello, hello out there, internet world. Feliz Navidad, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays, whatever the hell you want to call it. As you can see, we are your bearded brothers. I'm Matt.
I'm not here.
And Chris is barely here. We think he's coming down with something, and Loki's in the background being his usual self. Which probably means at some point in time or another he's going to get caged. Alright, so we wanted to let everybody know there's going to be a change of format. We did kind of half talk about it last time. We didn't really talk about it, but I did mention it in the description. Essentially, what we've decided to do, we're keeping all the extraneous stuff around the games, but we're paring down the amount of games we talk to about 5. We're obviously going to talk about the Vikings game, but then each of us has chosen 2 games beyond that we were interested in watching that we're going to talk about, so that way we actually took our time to watch these games and be able to formulate opinions about them and be able to talk about specific aspects of the game that we enjoyed, rather than just rattling off empty stats to you. We felt that segment was getting, I believe Chris called it empty and dead, lifeless. And I agree with him. So, because I had actually approached him with the idea of, should we split the podcast in half and just do a segment on just the game reviews? And we decided that what we're going to try to do is just pare down the games, and hopefully this gets us into a target window of about an hour to an hour and a half for the total podcast, which is kind of the sweet spot, we would think, because nobody wants to listen to us for 3 hours. But we think we could get an hour to an hour and a half out of you without too much problem. At least that's our hope. So, we're going to start early up here. I actually made a rundown this time. So, I want to talk about the funny story first.
Okay.
Apparently, this last offseason, about the time Jerry Jeudy was actually traded, before he went to the Browns, there was a deal in place with the Jets.
For some reason, I feel like we talked about this, but maybe
we actually did not talk about this. You texted me because it happened right after we podcasted.
Okay.
So they nixed the deal in the end. The Jets did, because Woody's teenage sons, Brick and Jake, I believe are their names.
I'm definitely not gonna forget Brick.
Yeah, said that he has a bad awareness rating in Madden, and that their dad shouldn't take him. I have several questions. First off, are we all aware that Woody Johnson is like 77 or something? How the do you have teenage kids?
That's not as weird as it sounds.
It's still weird.
There's actually, when you get up to that age, I have seen several older people that have the 20, 30-year gap is not nearly as weird when you get older.
Yeah, but that means that when he had them, he'd have to be older than I am now, and I'm in my 40s.
Yes, that is true. I'm not disagreeing with you. It's not that hard. Put it this way, it's really easy to parent when you have a lot of money and you make someone else do it.
That's true. Okay. Second, why did you name one of your kids Brick? Were you not
hit him with a brick.
I was going to say, were you not expecting anything out of him?
I think my answer was funnier, to be honest.
Probably, knowing you. Barely knowing this. I mean, come on now. This was just... Woody, what are you doing? What are you doing? You guys are killing me. You and Jerry need to join the All Senile Club. It's bad. That's a bad look for the Jets. All right, look, we make fun of Jerry Jones and some of the dumb things he does, but this tops the cake, in my opinion, of dumb owner crap.
Okay. Hey. No more chewing on that. Sorry.
Staying on the Jets, it came out that Aaron Rodgers, has said that he would like to come back to the Jets next year and play again, and that he's willing to take a pay cut, and he's willing to mentor a QB if they draft one. I'm kind of okay with that. Again, I think the year after you have a major Achilles injury, I think you're going to be a little rusty, which he has kind of shown he is this year, but he also hasn't looked terrible. And the idea of him being able to mentor somebody, as long as he doesn't try to make them into like some sort of anti-vax weirdo, or into some sort of like fringe conspiracy theory nut, just the
Why
football
not? That'd be
part.
funny.
I mean, that would be kind of funny, to be honest. Don't worry.
Bring in Will Levis. He seems like the type.
Don't worry, young man. We're gonna go on a darkness retreat together and live in a cabin in the woods together in total
Where there's
darkness.
no internet connection.
And there's no internet connections. I'm sorry, dude. That sounds like you trying to be creepy, old man.
Man, I mean, you're nice and all, but I don't think you're that nice. A little weird.
Uh-oh. So yeah, that's the thing. I don't know if that's going to happen. It probably does, to be honest. I think Woody is the kind of guy that would like to keep Aaron around. Now, who's going to be the coach? That's going to be a question.
That's still a question, too.
Woody has burned a lot of bridges. And I don't know who wants that.
Oh, did you hear the news about Bill Belichick involved with that?
Yes, we talked about that last week, where he actually had reached out to the Jets to see if there was any interest in him, and apparently there wasn't. We did talk about that last week.
For some reason.
Yes, we did talk about that last week. I know Rex Ryan has been advocating to get that job because he already has a relationship with Woody.
Which would still be weird, because Rex, I don't think, did a very good job in the first place.
It wasn't bad. His...
Horrible, it just wasn't good either.
Well, the last time they made the playoffs was under Rex Ryan.
To be fair, barely, in a division that wasn't great.
Well, that division still had, I believe... No, it didn't have the... Yeah, no, that division had the Patriots in it.
I know, that was the only reason...
Yeah, there was nobody... the Dolphins and the Bills were not very good at that period of time.
No.
So,
squeaking on a playoff...
They did make it on a very, very good defense and a pretty good ground and pound running game, which is how they made the playoffs. They never went far in the playoffs, but they used to make it. So, I don't think Rex is the worst idea as a head coach, because they do have what should be a good defense in place, or at least all the pieces to be a good defense. And I think Rex could really do something with that. Now, whether or not he could do anything with the offense, personally, if I were him, I would just say, Aaron, take care of the offense.
That makes sense, too.
I'd hire an offensive coordinator that was tight with Aaron, keep Hackett around or something, and I'd just let them run the offense, and I'd stay the hell out of it.
Right.
All right. Let's see here. What else do we want to talk about? Okay. The other big news that came out is with Michael Penix Jr. starting, it does look like Atlanta is moving to potentially cut Kirk Cousins before, I want to say it's March, when they would owe him a roster bonus. This would cost them $65 million in dead cap. But it looks like they're willing to take that because Kirko hasn't looked very good this year. I don't know why they gave him...
was his name.
I don't know why they gave him $90 million to begin with.
They really wanted a bridge QB that could compete. It's the only thing I can think of.
And they gave him 3 years at $90 million. And you just went...
Yeah.
You're about to find out. And the entire league...
And I imagine it's also because Kirk basically made it clear that, like, no, I'll just go back to the Vikings. Like, they'll pay me less, but I'll just stay there. You have to entice me to come over, and that's basically what happened.
I think that's exactly what happened.
His agent just ripped theirs, basically.
So I think honestly that if somebody deserves a non-player Hall of Fame position, it is Kirk Cousins' agent. The amount of money
So
that
many
the amount of money he's gotten
guaranteed
Kirk over the
contracts.
years, yeah, all those guaranteed contracts.
Like, there's a reason why most QBs don't get those. Why
Yep,
are we still doing this for Kirk Cousins? I don't understand.
his agent is apparently very persuasive. I don't know if he's got dirt on all the owners or what.
I have no idea.
All right, shifting gears real quick. We're going to talk college football for a minute. Um, the first little blurb is Bill Belichick's son is going to join him at UNC. I believe he is being brought in as the defensive coordinator for the program. That is not
Knock it off.
unexpected. So we do kind of family. That's kind of an expected thing. Now, I want to personally address a group of people that are complaining about the college football playoffs. I don't know if you've heard about this.
I know some people don't like how many teams there are.
Most people are mad because they don't believe that Indiana, SMU, and Clemson, I think was one of the other ones, should have been in the playoffs to begin with. To be fair, the Notre Dame-Indiana game looks close, 27-17, but you have to realize that 10 of those points were scored in the final minute of the fourth quarter. It was 27-3 or something like that. Like,
It was, yeah.
most of the 14
was
of those
pretty bad.
points, yeah, it was bad. It was not a good game. Pretty much every team got blown out, but people are saying that Alabama or South Carolina, typically SEC fanboys, that Alabama or South Carolina should have been in because they would have put up a better game, a better fight. To anybody who thinks that, you're insane. Alabama literally lost to unranked 5-5 Oklahoma and didn't put up more than 3 points. South Carolina also got spanked several times. If you want to be in the playoffs, don't lose 3 games, 2 of them to unranked teams. Oh, and your team that did make it in got absolutely blasted by Ohio State.
Dude, you need to stop jumping on that shoulder.
Absolutely blasted by Ohio State. Tennessee did not put up a fight. Tennessee got run out of the building.
It was not a good game.
No, none of them were great games. So don't come in here with that crap about, oh, Alabama should have been it. Take that, go throw it in the trash, because anybody who thinks that is delusional. Outright. Delulu. Delulu. All right. That's all the real major news I've got. Injury-wise, we have found out that CeeDee Lamb is going to be shut down for the year now due to his shoulder injury. This is primarily because the Cowboys have officially been eliminated from the playoffs thanks to a game. I don't think either of us actually took the game. I don't think that's one of the ones we're going to cover this week. You okay?
Just the shoulder.
All right. I don't think either of us actually took the game, but Washington did beat Philadelphia, which was stunning to me. But absolutely overall, I love it. With Washington beating Philly, it's a pretty damn good game, pretty damn fun. And with that, the Cowboys have been eliminated from the playoffs. The North, still don't know who's going to win that. Currently, everybody but the Bears made the playoffs. Green Bay clinched a win with the first shutout of the season, because I know nobody took that game. I believe they won like 34-0 over the Saints. The only other fun things to talk about real quick, little blurbs. Apparently, Spencer Rattler decided he was going to work out in a freezer to get ready to play up in Green Bay. And I don't remember which team it was. Tennessee, I think, came out onto the field and warmed up without their shirts on to try to get used to the cold in Ohio State, and that totally worked for them.
So dumb, dude.
All right.
Oh, by the way, I think this is the week Tank Dell got injured.
Yes. Also, we would like to report Tank Dell had a super nasty knee injury. It didn't look good. And it was his own guy that did it, because he was also like,
Yeah.
Tank was obviously going to be the guy to get the ball, but that guy dove for it anyway and just slammed into Tank's knee. And Tank bless him, grabbed his knee and held onto the ball with one hand while doing a somersault.
Get out of here, dude.
Still made the catch, made a touchdown, but it cost him the knee. I don't know if there's any news per se, if it's ACL, MCL.
He's on IR.
Well, I know he's on IR.
Oh, it's basically, from what I've heard, it's like he basically completely blew out his knee, basically. From what I read last.
Let me see if I can...
Either that or they're calling it a severe sprain, I don't remember which. It should be definitely more than a sprain based on the look of it.
Oh no, this looks like a triple.
Yeah.
Yep, it's the trifecta.
Yep.
MCL,
Oh, that's
LCL,
awesome.
ACL, dislocated the knee, and there's meniscus damage.
Yeah, dislocation. Yep.
That's...
He's, in other words, I don't think he's even coming back next year. Not gonna lie.
No, I think he's gonna sit next season.
Yeah.
If I were the Texans, I would do that. That's a major surgery. We'll be honestly, as much as I hate to say it, we might be lucky if that isn't career ending.
Yep. Fun side news I just saw. Teddy Bridgewater is coming out of retirement to sign with the Lions.
I just saw that, and he just won a high school state championship.
State championship with his as a coach. Yeah.
As a coach, and now he's going to be a backup quarterback for the Lions.
Yep.
I find that funny. I don't know about anybody else, but I enjoy that. Go Teddy.
That's right. I guess, to be honest, we all know that this is mostly as an emergency, and we also know that this is like, apparently Dan Campbell and Teddy have worked together a couple of different times.
They have.
So apparently this is mostly like, let's get you a ring, buddy. Let's get you a ring.
All right. You want to talk about the two games?
I guess I'm not gonna lie to you. Because of all the other games that have been going on, I barely remember some of these. So.
Well, you took Broncos, Chargers, and Steelers and Ravens.
Yeah.
And then
No, I know which ones I chose. I don't remember the games very well, so I'll have to read stats, but I just don't remember like specifics as well right now. My brain is so mush.
I understand.
And this was before I started writing down stuff, so look at that, Flicky.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that next week. Is start taking some notes on the games.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm doing now. So I'll just start from the top, and we'll talk stats, and if anything comes up, I'll mention it. So let's start with Bo Nix for the Denver Broncos, going 29-40, 263 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Overall, not bad, but you feel like you still want a little bit more. God damn it, Bird!
You want to put him away?
Pick the other shirt, for God's sake! But overall, not a bad performance, just another average Bo Nix game. Rushing, we have Estime for 9 rushing attempts for 48 yards and 1 touchdown. Pretty much did all the work. I mean, Bo Nix had 3 for 25.
Yeah.
And that was
the biggest problem that I remember seeing in that game was that they started rushing well and then abandoned it.
Yeah.
Like that first drive that opened the game, they went right down, bam, 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 just punching through the Chargers line, and then like the Chargers started stuffing it up, and they abandoned the running game. It's funny because I think you and I had talked about this, and I remember them mentioning it kind of on the broadcast. Normally the Broncos have a crappy first half and a pretty good second half. Normally, it's the opposite for the Chargers. They have a really good first half and a really bad second half. They kind of flipped the script today, where the Broncos went in leading, I believe, at halftime, and were playing very well, and then came out and just got decimated in the second half.
Yeah, we'll go with that. Receiving, we have Cortland Sutton 5 for 50. Devon Bell 2 for 21 and a touchdown. Javonte Williams had 7 for 29. Marvin Mims Jr. had 3 for 62. And Michael Burton was 3 for 19 and 1. So, kind of tossing it around, but nobody was really super heavily targeted. Like, I guess Cortland was okay. He had 5 receptions out of 6 attempts. Marvin Mims had 5 for 3. Like, they kept throwing, like, they had 11 pass attempts to Javonte Williams, and he caught 7 for only 29. Like, it's... Why? Why are we doing that? What the fuck?
Yeah,
It's obviously not working. Like, you find your guy downfield, stop checking it fucking down.
I think they were getting pretty heavily rushed by
Yeah, which
Bosa
also should
and
not...
Mac. Were both doing a pretty good job.
Which that O-line's been pretty good most of the year, so there should be no reason for that
Yeah,
either.
I don't know what happened. I don't know if there was an injury. I can't remember.
I don't remember either. Bo Nix fumbled the ball but did not lose it. Chris Abrams-Drain had 1 interception. DeAndre Tillman had 1 sack. And Drew Sanders had a sack. Will Lutz was 2 for 2 on field goals for a long of 55 and 3 for 3 on extra points. No kickoff returns and no punt returns. So overall, they played decently. At least it appeared that way. And then the Chargers just kind of decided to play football. Like, they stayed fairly decent through the first half. I mean, we're looking... Quarter 1 was 7 points, quarter 2 was 6, quarter 3 was 6, quarter 4 was 15. So they definitely did better in the fourth quarter, but we're talking about like 1 extra score. They were fairly even across, I would say, the entire game for the most part. Justin Herbert passing 23 for 31, 284 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Not a great game by him, actually. Like, he's played better games. But the rest of the team kind of worked around him pretty well. Gus Edwards was 14 rush attempts for 68 yards and 2 touchdowns. Receiving, we have Darius Davis, 2 receptions for 31 yards and a touchdown. Hassan Haskins, 2 receptions for 39 yards and a touchdown. Josh Palmer had 3 for 41. Lad McConkey had 6 for 87. Stone Smart had 3 for 37. And nope, I think that's it. I think I got them all. Yeah, got all the big ones. Kamani Vidal did fumble the ball but did not lose it. No interceptions. Bud Dupree had 1 sack. Joey Bosa had a sack. For a total of 2 sacks on the night. Seems like they should have had more, to be honest. Let's see here. Cameron Dicker, the kicker, 2 for 2 on field goals for a long of 57, and 2 for 2 on extra points. No kickoff returns, and Darius Davis had 1 punt return for 17 yards. The score makes it seem like it was a really close game, and while it kind of was, it wasn't for good reasons. Like, it felt like neither team played all that well, in my opinion, and the biggest reason is the defenses were just non-existent for the most part. Like, sure, they shored up once in a while, but, like, I don't know. That 34-27 just seems a little bit more than I would have expected out of 2 teams that have been stouting pretty good defensive cores for the last several weeks. So I'm just a little surprised that this was a higher scoring game. I think I still picked the Chargers to win that game, if I recall. But I might be wrong on that. I don't remember.
Hold on, I have them right here. No, we both picked the Broncos to win that game.
All right. Overall, fairly close game. Oh yeah, that's because I think the Chargers, the previous game, choked against Casey. I think in the last half.
Choked horribly. Well, I don't think it was against KC, but
I thought it was Casey. Maybe it's not. That's fine.
I
I just remember them losing to a team that they should have. It might have been the Ravens. I don't remember.
It was the Buccaneers.
Either way.
They got beat
I think it was the
40-17.
Oh, that's right. Jesus Christ. I completely forget about that
And they
game.
didn't even score in the second half.
Yeah, they just had a terrible, terrible game.
Yeah.
So, yep, that's pretty much all there is to say about that game. Just defenses letting down their coaches more or less.
All right. I'll talk about the Rams game real quick because I had that, and then you could talk about the Steelers and the Ravens. Um,
Okay.
I'll talk about, and then we can talk about, or I'll talk about Bucks Cowboys. Then we can both talk about the Vikings game to close it out.
Okay.
Also, right now, if you aren't seeing our pretty faces, I don't know where I'm going to put it, but I will have
Okay.
the full list of all the games. It'll be on screen here, and you guys will be able to look at all the scores, who we picked, and who won, who lost, and I'll have our records at the end. We'll still have that up. All right, and we'll have our weekly record in here somewhere as well. Surprise, Chris beat me in every game this week. I did not win a single game from Chris. Clean sweep. Shut me out, just like the Packers did to the thing. Also, real quick before I get into this, we do want to point out I missed one major injury that I should talk about. Jalen Hurts was concussed early in the game and replaced by Kenny Pickett. I do not know if he's going to come. I do not know if he will be back for this week's game or not. He's in protocol. So, speaking about that, Rams and Jets, we both picked the Rams to win this, I believe. Pretty sure. We did. And the Rams do win it 19-9. I will say that the guy who impressed me the most wasn't even on the field most of the time. It's a dude named Jordan Whittington. Very early in the game, the Rams had to punt the ball away on the other side of the, because it was it raining? I want to say it was raining and kind of nasty. And so they punted it on the going inside of the 50, and it hit right around the goal line. And before it could go in, Jordan Whittington was there, and he grabbed the ball and he shoveled it to one of the Rams players who was right there, who kept from going into the end zone to put it on literally like the 1 yard line. It was a pretty doggone good thing. I do think the Jets actually marched the 99 yards and scored, if memory serves. However, at the end of the game, the Jets punt returner muffed a punt, and Jordan Whittington was the guy to recover it, helping salt the game away for the Rams. Stafford didn't have the world's greatest game. He was only 14 of 19 is good, but he only had 110 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. He did not get sacked by anybody on the Jets, but the hero of the game in terms of offensive production was Kyren Williams, who carried the ball 23 times for 122 yards and a touchdown. He also caught a pass for 7 yards. Look, the Jets couldn't get a passing game going to save their own butt. Cooper Kupp did not have a great game. Puka had an okay game, but most of their work came on the ground. And I was highly impressed with the way that they were able to shift gears, because this has been predominantly a pass-heavy offense based around Stafford and, Puka and Cooper. Yeah, that was a thing. And they didn't really need it today. Or they didn't really need it when they played. That game was put Kyren Williams put the team on his back and played his butt off. I will give all the props in the world to him and the offensive line for blocking very well. And I think their offensive line now is also fully healthy, which is a great thing. These guys are getting hot and healthy at the right time, and they are not a team you want to run into in the playoffs, because they're going to be dangerous. Speaking of receiving, Puka, as we mentioned, 8 catches for 56 yards. Cooper only 3 for 24. Tutu Atwell only caught 1 for 12. And welcome back, Tyler Higbee, who some of you may know blew his knee out in the playoffs last year, and this is his first game back, and he caught one pass for 11 yards and then jumped and slammed it in for a touchdown, which was kind of cool to see. He looked real happy about that. Also, as much as Jordan Whittington recovered a fumble, so did Jared Verse. There was only one sack, and that was Cameron Curl. I want to say Braden Fisk was the guy who actually caused the fumble, and I want to say that it was on Aaron Rodgers. I want to say he caught Rodgers' arm and got the ball out, and it was Braden Fisk. Speaking of Jordan Whittington, he did have 2 kick returns. Joshua Carty hit 2 field goals with a long of 45, but he missed one of the extra points. Over on Jets' side, it was Aaron Rodgers who lost the fumble, and Xavier Gibson also fumbled and lost the ball. I believe he was the guy who was returning. Rodgers had a pretty darn good game. 28 of 42 for 256 yards and a touchdown, and only sacked once. He played very well, considering these guys almost had the opposite thing going on. The Rams couldn't pass the ball. The Jets could not run the ball. Breece Hall carried 14 times for 52 yards. Isaiah Davis carried 3 times for 12 yards. I mean, when you're getting that kind of stuff, it's bad. Devontae Adams did have 7 catches for 68 yards and a touchdown. He damn near had another one that was really long, but he got hit by one of the Rams' secondary members as he was trying to bring that in, and he got separated from the ball, and you almost never see that, because Devontae's got strong hands, and that was like, I watched that, and I went, oh, damn! They really got him. Tyler Conklin was another favorite target, 5 for 59. Garrett Wilson, 6 for 54. Breece Hall, checkdowns, 5 for 38. Lazard only 2 for 20. Ruckert 2 for 12. And Braylon Allen 1 for 5. Defensively, the only real player to talk about is Tony Adams, who did have that interception on Stafford. I don't even 100% know that it was Stafford's fault. I think it was just... I just don't think... If I remember right, we thought the receiver had come down with it, but the defender rolled through with it. It was a good interception, I'll say that. Anders Carlson hit a field goal and missed one. He hit one from 21, and he missed an extra point. So the Jets had their share of kicking woes this week. The Rams stay alive. The Jets are obviously already eliminated. Rodgers is looking a little better, and Devontae is looking a lot more comfortable now. I think if you bring both of them back next season to see what you've got, I think you'll get a much, much better feel for the teams. And I just wish we could go one season without somebody on the Rams being detrimentally hurt in the first week and having to take like 4 weeks off or 5 weeks or 6 weeks off, so the Rams end up at like 9-6 or something, and you're like, I don't know what's going on. What are the Rams? And you're like, no, the Rams are always good. It's just they always have injuries, and it's such a pain in the backside, because you know that once they're healthy, they're gonna be good. I don't know if you got to see any of that game, but
it was kind of boring for me, so I actually just ended up walking away for a while.
I don't blame you. All right, talk to me about the Steelers and the Ravens.
Okay. This game was actually fairly close at first for a little bit. Halftime ended up being 17-10. So at first it seemed like Pittsburgh had a chance, and then the Ravens went, LOL, no.
That's pretty much what happened. Now, I had picked the Steelers because traditionally Lamar has had trouble against the Steelers. And you picked the Ravens and said, nah, dog, not this time. And you were right.
Not this game, man. Not this game.
Not this game.
So let's talk about the Steelers first. Russell Wilson was 22 of 33 for 217 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Not a bad performance from him, but just when we talk about the other team, you'll understand what went wrong. Jalen Warren, 12 for 48. Najee Harris, 9 for 42. These are all rushing, by the way. And Russell Wilson had 3 for 27. Receiving, we had Ben Skoranek, 2 for 25. That's hilarious. Calvin Austin III, 4 for 65. Cordell Patterson, still playing football, 1 for 12 for a touchdown. Jalen Warren, 5 for 44. Nicole Pruitt, 1 for 1 for a touchdown. And Van Jefferson, 2 for 27. Definitely we're passing the ball around. Nobody was a clear favorite outside of maybe Calvin Austin and Jalen Warren. Most people got at least a touch or attempt at a touch. Overall, not bad. Fumbles, we have Jalen Warren fumbled the ball once but did not lose it. Russell Wilson fumbled the ball and did lose it, unfortunately. Minka Fitzpatrick did come away with an interception. Alex Highsmith had 1 sack. And the only sack, which is, again, one of those things where, like, you expect... I'll say this, when I was watching the Steelers' defensive line, especially specifically after the first half, it was one of those things where you were watching it going, this is a defensive line that, has T.J. Watt on it, and Minka Fitzpatrick, and, like, what is going on? Why are they not getting more pressures? And that's really what it came down to, is that the pressure they used to be able to bring to Lamar just wasn't there this game.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they weren't feeling well, or if it was because they were playing, I believe, at the Ravens. So maybe, the stadium, maybe that was the problem. I don't know. But it just came across as not up to the standard we'd expected up until this point.
Mm-hmm.
Kicking, we have Chris Boswell, 1 for 1 for a long of 51, and 2 for 2 on extra points. And for kickoff returns, we had Cordell Patterson, 1 for 18, Jalen Warren, 1 for 34. No punt returns. With that being said, let's go ahead and talk about the Ravens in this game. So we have Lamar Jackson, 15 for 23, 207 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Didn't have to throw it that often, and still got 3 TDs.
Yep.
And then that's not all. We have Derrick Henry, King Henry, 24 rushing attempts for 162 yards. Yeah, that's rough. But then you have Justice Hill going 2 for 30 and Lamar going 9 for 22. It didn't seem to matter who they handed off the ball. They were able to get yards consistently.
Yes. And you just
I think that's
could
the
see
biggest
it, like,
issue that I was having. Yeah.
whatever was going on with the Steelers, they could not stop the run at all.
Yeah, they not only could they not bring the pressure to Lamar when he was passing, they literally couldn't stop the run whatsoever.
Yeah.
Receiving, we have Derrick Henry, 2 for 27, Isaiah Likely, 3 for 21 and a touchdown, Mark Andrews, 4 for 37 and a touchdown, Rashad Bateman, 1 for 14 and a touchdown, and Zay Flowers, 5 receptions for 100 yards. No touchdown, but still, that's impressive.
That is kind of impressive, yes.
All right. Desmond King did fumble the ball twice, but did not lose it. And Lamar even fumbled the ball, but did not lose it. Interceptions, we had Marlon Humphrey. And for sacks, we got Kyle Van Noy with 1.5, Michael Pierce for 1, Matabuke for half a sack, for a total of 3 sacks. So they were even able to put more pressure on Russell than the other way around, which again, not something that traditionally has happened between these two teams. So Baltimore came to play, and they decided it was. I mean, I'm pretty sure they were playing for a playoff spot, if I recall. All right? No, they were playing for the leader for the division.
Yes.
And so, like, they came prepared to going, we're going to knock your teeth out. You better be prepared. And Pittsburgh was not prepared to get punched in the mouth. Quite literally, for when it comes to the rushing game. Like, Baltimore just said, you know what? They can't stop our run. So we're just going to keep doing it. Punch you in the gut over and over so you can stop it.
100%. Baltimore came ready to just knock the bejesus out of Pittsburgh.
Oh, yeah. Justin Tucker, 2 for 2 on field goals for a long of 51 and 4 for 4 on extra points. No kickoff returns, and they had 2 punt returns from Desmond King for a long of 16. This is one of those games where it was pretty much the Ravens game. Like, I figured it might. You had some doubts, but I'm pretty sure they quieted you up a little bit in the second half.
They did. I'm not like I thought going into the second half, I was like, okay, this is a good game. This is going to be fun to watch. And then all Ravens in the second half, and I was just like,
Yeah.
did you guys leave the team in the locker room? What happened?
Pretty much. The defense just refused to come back out of that locker room in the
Oh my
first half.
God, yes! Like everybody stayed in that locker room, and you just went, what? What?
Are they playing third stringers? What's happening?
What's happening, man? All right.
Yeah, pretty much.
Let's talk about Dallas and Tampa. Um, this.
Oh, that was your other one. That's right.
Yeah, that was my other one. Because Tampa had a chance to salt away not only their division, but they had a chance at this point in time. Also, Dallas had been eliminated from the playoffs, so I thought this is going to be an easy win for Tampa. Dallas is just going to throw up.
I'm not gonna lie to you. This was, well, looking at the games and everything, this was the most disappointing game to watch.
Yes,
Like, not because they played poorly, but because of the result. You're like, this is. Well, I would actually argue the Bucks did play kind of poorly, to be honest with you.
they did.
It was a sad affair, and it was the most disappointing game to watch, I think, for that week.
Well, and I can explain kind of what happened and how the Bucks lost to the Cowboys. We both picked the Bucks. They did lose 26-24 in Dallas. So essentially what happened in this game, without getting into stats first, the Cowboys' rushing numbers do not look good. But
they found a guy. In the last couple of weeks, they have found a guy.
yeah, Rico Dowdle.
Yep.
But it has nothing to do with that. The thing is, normally
Commenting on the general.
Well, what normally happens is with the Bucks for their defense, is they shut down your run, you abandon your run, and then they can move into a pass rush heavy defense where they can get after your QB and force you into mistakes. The Cowboys, despite not getting anywhere in the run, absolutely refused to abandon it. Even if it only gets 2 yards, they refused to give it up. Because they wanted you to have to continue to respect the fact that they were going to run. And since they had to do that, the Tampa Bay defense couldn't rush as heavily as it normally would, or they'd get burned. Which absolutely ate that defense alive. They couldn't adjust to it, which is how they lost. Baker did go 31 of 43 for 303 yards with 2 touchdowns and an interception. The other problem is they did have guys that were running. Bucky Irving got 16 for 68 and a touchdown. Baker carried 3 times for 42 yards. Rachaad White only 3 times for 10. But they had guys that they were trying to get the ball to. Mike Evans, 5 catches, 69 yards. Jalen McMillan, 5 for 57 and a touchdown. They got the ball. They checked it down to Rachaad White a lot, 7 for 50. The biggest problem was they couldn't move the ball when it counted. And Rachaad White fumbled it and lost it. Baker Mayfield fumbled it but recovered, and Payne Durham also had a fumble. They only got 1 sack, and that was Diaby and Cansey combining for a sack. They didn't pick off Cooper Kupp, or not Cooper Kupp, Cooper Rush. I knew it was a Cooper. I got there. They did not pick off Cooper Rush once. He was never really under pressure, and he played a really good game. And it helped because you had CeeDee Lamb, who is, even injured, is probably one of the top 5 receivers in the league. Let's be honest. I hate the Cowboys, but I got to respect CeeDee Lamb. 100% I respect CeeDee Lamb. They did have a guy kick a field goal in McLaughlin. He kicked a 45-yarder, and he made all 3 of his extra points. This was a close game, but it really wasn't. Since they couldn't really effectively pressure Cooper Rush, he went 26 of 35 for 292 yards and a touchdown. And he looked really good out there, being able to throw the ball around. CeeDee Lamb caught 7 catches for 105 yards. I thought he had a touchdown. He did not. I believe that one was down like the 1 or something, or called back for something. Rico Dowdle did carry 13 times, but he only got 23 yards. Turpin, 3 for 11. Elliott only got a yard, but he also got a touchdown because they used him down near the goal line and he punched it in. Like I said, CeeDee Lamb had 7 catches for 105 yards. Brandon Cooks went 3 for 48. Tolbert, 2 for 20 and a touchdown. And Deron Bland is the guy who came up with the interception, which was really nice. Chauncey Golston, Parsons, and Donovan Wilson all had sacks. And Linval Joseph, too. Jordan Lewis had an interception. Deron Bland recovered a fumble. Jordan Lewis had a pick. Turpin, of course, doing Turpin things. Did not get a kick return, but he got 2 punt returns. He took 1 for 18 yards. People thought he might break that. Brandon Aubrey, put him in a building and tell him to kick the field goal because he's probably going to hit it. 4 of 4 on field goals, and he hit a 58-yarder. And I just went, is it wrong that I saw Aubrey walk out onto the field and I went, oh, he's got that. He also
considered one of the best for sure.
Yeah, dude, Brandon Aubrey might be one of the best kickers we've seen in a long time. I'm going to put him right up there already with Tucker.
I think I'm not going to lie to you, sleeper, the Vikings here, Riker.
Riker's also going to
really
be
good.
Again, really good. Yes.
Like if he hadn't gotten injured, I think we'd be singing even his praises a little bit more.
Oh yes, but Brandon Aubrey's been one of the most consistent weapons for the Cowboys all season long.
Pretty much their only weapon in some games.
Yes. Some weeks he's been their only weapon, and he's been. You know what? He's been really, really, really good this year. And if there's anybody that deserves a Pro Bowl nod, it is Brandon Aubrey.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, no question.
I don't know if he'll make it. I also want to point out for the Chargers, because we talked about the Chargers, Cameron Dicker the kicker, has an absolutely fantastic Pro Bowl ad that he put out. That's him like being like a used car salesman type person. It's absolutely hilarious, and I love it.
Yeah. I think my favorite still, as many as people have been like, no, stop doing those. The Dan Campbell one at Applebee's where he's like, you gotta put up the card, hide your face, they'll steal your order. Like, it's hilarious.
It's so funny. I don't understand why that's funny.
All right. As he walks away, all right, they'll never see it coming.
It's like, what the fuck, Dan?
He's just a goofball. I love him.
Oh, I love him to death. He's such an idiot, and it's great.
Yeah.
The best, did you see him this week?
I don't know what was it this week.
During his press conference at the end of the game, he's talking about something, and then you hear this cheer from the guys in the locker room. Just this really raucous cheer, and Dan kind of goes like this, and like one of the reporters goes, oh, they're probably watching the Commanders-Eagles game because the Commanders just scored. And he went, oh, really? How much time is left? And they went, like 30 seconds. And he went, oh, we can just wait.
We can wait. I want to see how this ends.
Yeah. He goes, we can wait. It's okay. Should we just wait it out? I fucking love Dan Campbell.
That's fair.
All right. Last game we're going to talk about. Yeah, I think it's time. Let's go ahead and talk about the Vikings game. Vikings and Seahawks. We both picked the Vikings. They did win 27-24. Game was a little tighter than I wanted it to be. Let's be honest here.
I kind of expected it. I knew the Seahawks would have a pretty decent defense. So.
They did.
And coming back, from his injury too. Like, I figured he'd be as ready as he's gonna be.
And he wasn't bad, but he did throw a couple of interceptions. Both of them were bad throws.
Oh, horrific.
Absolutely horrific throws. Darnold, on the other hand, threw for 3 touchdowns and no interceptions, so I think we got something there.
Yeah.
Also, JJB and JJ. He did catch for 2 touchdowns. Do you want to go over the stats?
No, it's fine. We can just kind of talk about it roughly. We don't have to go over.
Yeah, I don't think we need.
I mean, we just highlight some of the players, not all of them.
Yeah, JJ had 144 yards receiving and like 2 touchdowns. Yeah. He should have had a third, but it looked like he tried to run before he actually pulled it in. And we were all like, JJ, what are you doing, man?
Yeah, I mean, Aaron Jones had the ball a lot. I mean, 18 for 67 isn't great for the amount of attempts, but like they were consistently getting, at least in the second half, like 2, 3, 4, 5 yards and just slowly eating those yards, especially at the
Also,
end.
he caught 3 balls for 26 yards. So, like, he was
Yep.
doing damned good with that ball. And Jordan Addison continuing to pile on. He got another touchdown this week.
Yeah. Only 35 yards though, a little bit quieter in comparison to past weeks, but I mean he was still seeing the ball. I mean five catches, so
Yes.
he was
Yes,
he was
yes,
still
yes.
he was still the second most on the team behind JJ, which makes sense.
Andrew Van Ginkel had 2 sacks this week. AVG, baby. Somebody actually put up his numbers compared to TJ's.
Oh, yep.
And Van Ginkel has the 2 interceptions, both returns for touchdowns. Plus, he is half a sack less.
Yep.
If you want to talk about somebody who should be a dark horse for Depoy, AVG should be in the conversation. I don't think he'll win it, but he should be in the conversation.
And then, of course, we can't forget to talk about Dallas Turner and Theo Jackson, the 2 guys, as we mentioned, coming away with interceptions. I believe Theo's was at the very end to secure the win.
Yes, that was the seal. Dallas Turner jumped it in, I think, the first quarter or second quarter.
The first quarter, yep.
Yeah,
I believe it was the first
quarter.
Yep.
They had no idea where he was. Reichard also nailed a couple of kicks, a 52-yarder out there. As we mentioned, if he hadn't gotten injured for a couple of weeks, Will Reichard would absolutely be mentioned in Pro Bowl stats. We know Jefferson's going to the Pro Bowl this year.
Oh, yeah.
There should be no question about that. The dude is absolutely dominating again. Over on the Seahawks side, like, Geno didn't have a horrible game throwing for 300 yards, but
those 2 interceptions, man.
Yeah, and they also couldn't get a run game going.
No, I was going to say Kenneth Walker was 8 for 31. That was their best, with Kenny McIntosh being 3 for 14 right behind him. Like, they literally could not run the ball.
Yeah. Both JSN and DK caught long balls of 25 against us. JSN had 95 yards receiving. But he did it on 12 targets with only 8 catches, so he missed 4 of them. And DK had 7 targets and only caught 3 of them. He had 57 yards. They each had touchdowns, and AJ Barnard wound up with a touchdown.
Yep.
They spread the ball around and they got the ball out to people, but they always seemed to stall when it mattered.
Yep.
I think it was if you got them in the red zone, you were pretty much guaranteed to shut them down. But they could hit the deep passes from beyond that and look really good doing it. Sack-wise, Jaron Reed wound up with 1, Boye Mafe and Derek Hall. And, of course,
It's okay.
Byron Murphy was flagged for a face mask. And he's all whiny about it, thinking, no, I didn't grab it. Dude, there's a great shot of you grabbing the face mask.
Grabbing it, yeah. It's pretty obvious.
You didn't, I don't think, the thing is, I don't think you meant to
I don't think
grab
he intentionally did it.
No. I think when you did try to brush it, unfortunately, when you brushed it, because you said brush, I think some of your fingers got into the mask, and you kind of fell and yanked down. You pulled down,
yeah.
Dude, it's a mistake. Mistakes happen. You just go, yeah, man, I meant to brush it. My hand was just up there, and it just so happened to get tangled in there. And bad things happen, and that was a horrible penalty. And I'm upset at myself.
Yep.
You take responsibility. I think you would be a lot better of a person if you did, but you'll learn. You're young. You're a rookie.
The other thing I do want to bring up is their kicking. Jason Myers was 1 for 2 on a long of 43 and 3 for 3 extra points. It's crazy to think that if that kick had gone through, we'd be looking at maybe a different game. You know?
Yeah, that one kick that they missed. And I was sitting there screaming at the oh, miss it! And then it did go wide to the right, I believe. And I was like,
wide right, yeah.
They missed it!
Yep.
I was happy.
I'm pretty sure it was early on, too, if I remember.
It was very early on. It wasn't like a kick to end the game. They actually threw a pick to end the game.
To end the game, yeah. So it's one of those things where, like, you look at it and you just go, yeah, this was a very tight game. I actually thought it might be a tight game, to be fair. Other people were talking about it being, at this point, we should have blown them out. And I'm like, Seattle's not a bad defense, and they have a decent offense. I think that's ridiculous.
Very, very well this year.
Sure, they Green Bay stomped on Seattle, and you could argue that was Green Bay coming alive in a big game. You also have to think about, like, who was injured for Seattle, all that kind of stuff. Like, there's a lot of factors that went into that. It wasn't just like, it's not like you can do Seattle got beat more badly by the Green Bay Packers versus the Vikings, so that means this upcoming week Packers Vikings, that means the Packers are better, so that means they should stomp them. That's not how it works.
No, that's why you play the games.
Yeah, like
Do
the
I
idea
think
of that
am
is
I the
ridiculous.
most nervous about anything on our upcoming schedule with the Green Bay? Yes. I'm not even this nervous about the Lions.
I mean, to be fair, we have one thing going for us, which is we are playing at home, so that there is some of that to consider. That is a one positive effect, so we don't at least have to go into cold ass fucking Green Bay. Loading. Hey. Poopy face. So
we don't have to go into Green Bay. No, they have to come to us.
Yeah. I would argue that I prefer these kind of wins because it shows that like we're a tough team. We can still win under even pressure. We never give optimistic.
Up. Yep.
Yeah.
These are the gutty, kind of greasy wins that you need if you're going to go anywhere. Like, you don't want to win every game by blowing somebody out. You want a team that can get up off the mat and keep coming at you. Which is what this team does. They don't stop. They don't slow down. At any rate,
boundaries for sure.
Hey. At any rate, we absolutely have made the playoffs, but we got a shot at the number 1 overall seed for the NFC. Loki. Stay off that shoulder. All right. Let him nuzzle your hand. I'm sure he likes that.
That's the hope. He's more annoyed right now with me, so we'll see.
At any rate,
why do you keep moving me?
Because I don't want you on that shoulder.
Pretty much.
He'll figure it out, or not.
Probably not.
All right.
He's pretty stubborn.
We did go over kind of this week. So I have decided, as I talked with my brother here, now you are going to see, not us, you are going to see a big black screen with all of the games coming in from either side and who won and who lost and our weekly numbers. And at some point in time, I'll probably put below down here somewhere our season numbers. So you can take a look at all of that and it'll stay up here for a few minutes so that you can pause if you want to see anything major. Otherwise, we're moving on to tell some people that they probably need to hit the showers because they had stinky, stinky weeks. Stinky, stinky weeks. Do you want to start this week?
Let's see here. Yeah, sure.
Go ahead.
All of New Orleans Saints. You guys all need to hit the showers. That was abysmal. That was disappointing. That was awful.
Dorian Thompson-Robinson. You threw 3 interceptions, dude. Hit the showers. That was bad. I didn't think anybody could play worse than Jameis or Deshaun, and you just did it.
Yep. All of the Cardinals. You were this close. This close. And you lost to OT to the Panthers. That's going to hurt. That's going to hurt you guys.
I believe they're eliminated because of it.
They might be. Yeah, with the win, with the Rams win,
I
and their
believe
loss.
With the Rams win and their loss, they're eliminated.
Yeah, I believe so.
And the Niners are eliminated.
Yes.
Brees Hall. Dog, that was abysmal. You couldn't get anything going. You couldn't find a groove. Yeah. Hit the showers.
And last but not least, CJ Stroud. You have been disappointing over the last several weeks. This is a long time coming. I've given you a lot of leeway. I'm pulling on that chain now. You need to calm down, relax, and get back in your groove.
Spoilers, he does not do that the next week.
No, he doesn't. In fact, it gets worse.
I had him on my list as well, but I'll give the last one. Geno Smith. You weren't horrible, but those 2 interceptions were unforgivable.
Especially at the very end.
Especially that one at the very end.
All you did was show that you're definitely not clutch.
What were you thinking?
It was straight to the sidelines. His DK was nowhere near him. Like, I don't
know where you were throwing that.
I don't know if one of them got on the wrong page. I don't know if he was expecting DK to do a cut back towards the sideline
I
because they're
don't
running out of
know, but
time.
that was bad.
But clearly somebody was not on the right page there, and if it
Yeah,
was
that was
or
that
DK,
was
I don't know, but
really really bad.
that was bad.
That was
Yeah,
bad.
that was bad.
To the worst, Dante's Inferno.
All right, do you want to go or you want me to go?
I'll go word first this time. So I do have a couple of just lightly toasty people.
I got only one toasty, and the rest are real hot. So we'll...
I've got one that's charred beyond recognition, and two that are lightly toasted. Byron Murphy, you're in the first circle. Stop complaining. You know that was a face mask. Little beep. Please don't come to my house and kill me.
All right, in the third circle, I have Tampa Bay. Guys, you had every advantage coming in this game, and you should have won, and you didn't. And now, I'm pretty sure the Falcons now take
Yes,
the
they
lead
did,
in
and
that
they now
division.
have Falcons are in
So-
the driver's seat of the division because they've beat the Bucks
Yeah.
twice.
Yeah, that's Bucks. You could not afford to lose that game. That's horrific.
Mike Tomlin, you're in the second circle. Now, why? Because you do this fucking every year. You get to 9 or 10 wins, and then you just light up a cigar and go, I'm
gone.
good. I'm good. We're going to the playoffs. I don't care. God damn it, stop
Pretty
that!
In the eighth circle, I have Nick Sirianni. I'm not gonna blame obviously the Jalen Hurts on you, but dude, can you for once not start a fight with a fan or with anyone on the sidelines? Your own coaches,
your own team.
Like, can you just chill the fuck out and do your job? Like, what the fuck?
The funny thing is, over his
It's like he's a
coaching
drama
tenure,
queen or some shit.
he has the highest winning percentage, even more so than Andy Reid.
I don't get it though.
I don't
get
either.
it.
Nobody likes him.
You're getting bailed out by your team. You don't
I
deserve
feel like
it.
the Eagles are winning despite him.
It feels like it, honestly.
Holy crap! Seriously?
But
Pittsburgh and Toledo in the game above Sports Bowl just went into the 6th overtime.
Jesus Christ. That might not be a good thing, though. It might be because they both are really having a tough time.
I don't know. I do know that at some point in time, Pittsburgh blocked a field goal and took it back.
Figures.
All right.
For your last one.
Woody Johnson, 10th circle. Stop using Madden to figure out what players are good. And why did you name your son Brick? You senile
Oh,
fuck.
boy. In my 11th circle, there is no redemption. There is no coming back. It is, in fact, Woody Johnson. Dude, your brother did a better job at managing your team when you weren't there. Let him just do your shit for you, because I think I'm going to call my shot and agree with Rich Eisen. The Jets aren't cursed. You fucking are.
Ah, there you go. All right, ready for some potatoes?
Yeah, we got that. Don't forget game balls too. We got game balls to do.
We
as
can
well.
do potatoes and then game balls and then
That's one I haven't written down yet. Was the game balls? I knew
power
I was, or not the
rankings.
game
Power
balls, the,
rankings in next week.
Yeah, I forgot to write down the potatoes. I got one real spicy one right off the bat. I'm gonna save this one though, so I'll let you go first.
Okay. None of mine are super spicy. Maybe one of them is. I'm going to start with one that I think is pretty tame. Maybe, just maybe, KOC is the coach of the year?
Oh yeah, no question. I mean, that is who else would you make that argument for? Like he's done more for this team than what most people expected he'd get out of him. Like there's no question that everyone has to look at what we've done so far, even if we lose out at this point and go one and done. You still have to look at it and go, man. A lot of people didn't even expect them to make the playoffs. Like this is impressive. I think that alone shows the unwillingness to give up, the ability to control the locker room and have them on your side and agreeing with you, and then being able to take talent that people have thrown away and found the best way to use them. on both sides of the ball, by the way. He's brought in Flores to help him with that on the defense side. So, yeah, there's no question that KOC should be um, coach of the year. Um, Now this one I don't think you'll agree with, just because I know your feelings about him. But here we go. Adolfo Mensa should be GM of the year.
Oh no, absolutely. I don't have negative
Okay.
feelings towards Adolfo Mensa.
Well, I know you didn't like. I knew you didn't like some of his draft choices early on. So.
Yes, that first year he came in, I was not impressed with his draft strategy and choices.
Yep.
But
Ow, you're hurting.
did he bite you?
No, he's just grabbing really hard on the finger with his talons.
Okay.
So he's digging his talons into my finger.
I didn't like that, but I do like everything he's done since. And this last draft, I thought he fucking nailed it, 100%. Moving up to get Dallas Turner, fucking brilliant. I do think he got duped a little too easily in moving up to get McCarthy, but I'm not even mad at that. And then it's turned out like I was not big on the signing of Darnold, but that's turned out all roses. So you know what?
I'm gonna say I want to at the end of the season. I want to go back and look at when that happened, because I'm pretty sure I was the sole one between us two that was going, no, I don't think this will be that bad. I think this will be
you
decent.
were. Yeah, I will absolutely admit that you were. I was on the train of like, this is going to turn into a train wreck, and then it has turned into anything but. And I've been like, oh.
Now, don't get me wrong. I did not think it would be this good either.
No, I don't. Think
I was
if anybody
like
said it would be this
9,
good,
10
you'd
win
have
game.
yourself checked in for insanity.
Yeah.
But no, yeah,
I did. Well, to be fair, Nick Schwartz on Rich Eisen said that the Vikings would win 12 games, and he's already been right about that. So that's crazy that he even said that was going to happen.
I got one here. Maybe outside of being sold to new ownership, nothing and no one can save those teams in New York?
If it was just the Jets, I'd agree. I think the Giants still have the capability, because they've shown that they have had teams that have been good under the same ownership, so I think that's a little bit of a stretch. But if you combine the two with just how bad the Jets are, I mean, it's not looking too far away from that being realistically like the actual problem. It's no longer the Jets curse, it's the New York curse. And it's all Woody fucking Johnson's fault.
Woody, and I don't think the Moras are all that great either.
No, they've made better decisions, just not
recently.
Great decisions.
And not recently.
I would argue well, that's more GM, so I guess I'm not going to necessarily put that on the GM. But they've made good coach hiring. They made a good coach GM hire. Like, they're not incredibly terrible. So that's where you're at the 50-50. But because the Jets are just pulling down so hard on the one way, you know.
Yep.
All right. Matthew Stafford should retire with his head held high at the end of the season.
Yeah,
no matter how it ends.
I could agree with that. I think they're gonna. I don't think they're going to a Super Bowl, but I think he's going to make a good playoff run. I think they're going to be. They're going to be more than one.
Kind of doing that. Kind of go out on top, right? Like
you still had you made the playoffs. You made the playoffs. You did really well. I think even if you make the Super Bowl, even if you lose, I think you got to hold your finger up and be like, okay, I'm done.
That's it. I'm out. Yep.
I'm out. I don't know how many more years you could perform at this level. And I think the team needs to seriously start thinking about your replacement.
What comes after you? Yep.
Yeah, and I honestly think Quinn Ewers is probably going to slip in the draft, and I honestly feel like they could grab Quinn Ewers, and I think that would be really good for them.
I can see it.
And if Darnold were to shake free in like free agency or something,
yeah, it's possible.
They'd like that. My last one's a little spicy, and I don't know if you'll like it, but it's super spicy. It's probably going to be the one I get the most hate for, if we had any watchers.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the Chiefs won't make the Super Bowl?
It's possible. I would say it's between the Chiefs, Bills, and Ravens probably at this point in my mind as to who's going to come out of that AFC. That's definitely possible. They have been playing a little weaky, kind of like a wonky, I would say, probably made it probably better. They've been playing just kind of off their back foot constantly. And as we've said, like there's going to be a time where that's not going to work, and if that's going to happen, it's going to be in the playoffs. 'Cause I think the Bills or the Chargers or the Ravens will come for blood. So, and as we know, refs are told to kind of let them play out more often in the playoffs rather than calling some of those ticky-tacky stuff. So it's a real possibility Patrick's going to be on his ass a lot. So
Yeah, and he's been sacked 36 times this season, so...
he's already been sacked a lot. So it is realistically possible. I don't want to, 100% eat the whole thing, but I might eat half of it and save the rest for later.
Okay.
You know?
Fair enough. Fair enough.
And my last one, I have dumped Pepper X all over this fucking... all over this one.
Let's do it. Give it to me.
Sam Darnold will be Super Bowl MVP.
Ooh. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If the Vikings make the Super Bowl
Mm-hmm.
and win it, which you kind of
Mhm.
have to do to win Super Bowl MVP, I think it would probably be between him and JJ.
Definitely. I agree. Yeah.
So I'm going to say I'm going to eat half of it now and save the rest for later.
Sounds good. Your mouth's going to be pretty hot, though.
Oh, no, that's definitely burning a bit, but it's entirely plausible.
Fair enough.
Alrighty. Let's throw out some game balls. You ready?
All right, I'm good.
You may start.
Derrick Henry, game ball.
JJ, game ball.
Chuba Hubbard, game ball.
Jonathan Taylor, JT, game ball. 218
Jameis-
yards.
I know, that was crazy. Jamison Williams, game ball.
He was also on my list. You already hit Chuba and Jameis, they were both on my list. However, Jaden Daniels, 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, 3 picks.
There were 3 picks. There were a total of 5 turnovers for that team in that game, and he still threw 5 touchdowns and won the game.
Somehow won the game, yeah.
Yeah, no.
That's crazy.
Jaden Daniels, you get it just for that ice, the ice in your veins at the end of the game.
For real.
You bugger.
That's not the first time that he's done it, too. This is the second or third time.
He's
so,
really, I'm
it tells me
excited
that,
to keep...
he's going to be real clutch, yeah.
Oh, I'm excited to keep watching him.
You want to talk about the next superstar.
I'm vibrating. That dude is the next big thing.
As long as Washington doesn't hurt him, he will be the next superstar.
Yes. I'm sorry. Yes, that's true. By the way, that would be the only other guy that I would think might be up for Coach of the Year is Dan Quinn.
Very possible. He just, you want to talk about coming from the Falcons and then going to defensive coordinator for the Cowboys and then having a huge resurgence season as first year with the Commanders. That's insane. That's good too. There's no question.
Yep. All right.
Still need to work on that defense though. Gotta work on that defense.
Power rankings?
Power rankings. You want me to go or you
The
go?
rankings of power. I'll start. Number 10, the Commanders.
All right, fair enough.
You guys played very well. You beat the Eagles, which, big deal. They're a really hot team. They've got a record well over 500. You guys have been playing pretty good all season, but your record versus teams that are better or as good or better than you has been sus. However, you have now proven to me that you probably deserve to be on this list.
That's not a far shot. At number 10, I have the LA Chargers. They're barely making the list, but they have played well. They still have a chance to make playoffs. Surprisingly enough, they're playing decently. They're not. I'd almost argue they're slightly a dark horse because they're coached well. As long as they can shore up some of those mistakes, I think they have a real shot.
Number 9, I have a different LA team. I have the Rams there. They are probably going to win that division, especially now with the loss the Seahawks just had. There's a pretty good chance that the Rams win out and take this division. which means they're definitely going to the playoffs. So yeah,
Mhm.
no, the Rams are playing extremely well. Um, they've been floating around this part of the list all season long, and we'll see if they can get any higher depending on how they do in the playoffs.
Totally agree. In fact, I agree so much. At number 9, I have the LA Rams as well, for all the same reasons. I'm pretty sure that they're going to make playoffs. They still have Sam Matthew, Jesus Christ, Matthew Stafford, and they also have Cooper Cup, and they also have Puka Nacua. Things are going well.
You've
They're
got
playing
Darnold and
great
Stafford on
football.
the brain.
I do. Um, they're playing very well. I legitimately think the Rams will very much win their division. Now, whether or not they make a deep run in playoffs remains to be seen, but they're definitely making playoffs.
At number 8, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers. Remember, this is a list compiled. There have been 2 Christmas Day games played already, and the Steelers were one of them. But I cannot take that game into factor for this list, so I am not. So as of last week, losing to the Ravens puts you down to number 8. You
That's fair.
guys, you came out and you looked good at the beginning of the game, and then you just got stomped, and I don't know what happened. You left your
That's fair.
defense in the locker room. Yeah,
Totally get it. At number 8, I have the Washington Commanders. I am definitely higher up on you than you are. They have continued to impress me. Jane Daniels, I think, in my mind at this point, has probably shored up Offensive Rookie of the Year. To be honest with you, I'd be shocked if it's not. Don't get me wrong; you could make an argument for like Brock Bowers and a couple others, but I think
I
there's
think it's
no
going to be
question that
Jaden as
people,
well. Yeah.
yeah, nobody looked at this team and went, yeah, they're gonna make playoffs. A lot of people went, yeah, they'll probably win 6, 7 games. Jaden's pretty good, but their defense is too suspect.
Now they've
Well,
won
they're
like
clearly,
10 games, and you're just like,
yeah, they're
what the
showing that not,
crap?
yeah, they're showing despite their issues on defense, their offense can out motorboat people, which is not something we had predicted at the start of the year. So
No.
very impressive.
Very nice. Um, okay, for me, number 7.
Hmm.
That's where we're at, correct? Yes.
Correct. Yeah.
I have. And now, I'm not saying this team is bad. I want to preface before I say this team. They're not bad. They're playing very, very well. They've clinched playoffs. But the problem is, everybody above them is also clinched playoffs. And I think they're playing slightly better. And it's the Packers. I don't think the Packers are playing bad, but everybody above them, I think, is playing better than them. If you beat the Vikings, you can expect to find yourself in the top 5 next week. I don't
That's
think it's
fair.
going to happen, by the way.
Probably not. At number 7, I have the Eagles. You want to talk about a disappointing game, dude? That was a disappointing game.
Yeah, but I couldn't take them down that far
You
because I think
guys,
I had them at like number
you
2
guys,
or 3.
I was so for sure thinking that the Eagles were going to win this game, and for them to play that poorly, despite the injury that happened, I just their defense let up way more than they should, and their offense felt a little slow at times. And obviously, I've talked about Nick Sirianni and my issues. His biggest issue that I think, honestly, is it was shown at that game, which is he has issues adjusting. I firmly believe that if Hurts hadn't gone down, they probably would have won this game. But he just can't adjust, and because of that, I see them as a potential one and done in the playoffs. As weird as that sounds.
At number 6 is where I place the Eagles. That's a 4-spot drop because they were at number 2. Um, that's an absolute 4-spot drop. That's as much as I felt comfortable bringing them down.
I get it.
Um,
I've been harsh on the Eagles for most of the year, so
yeah,
this checks out for my brand.
you hate the Eagles way more than I do.
I fucking hate
Um,
the Eagles, dude.
you despise them, but no, 4
Oh,
spots for losing to Washington is about right. But I've given them a little leeway because you did lose Jalen Hurts early on. But the coach's job then is to adjust, and clearly he couldn't do it. So sorry, my guys. That's why you dropped 4 spots. You didn't bother to change the game plan up as much as you needed to, and you couldn't get Saquon
not at all.
rolling.
No.
So without all of that, you looked like you were lost.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I have them at
Totally
6.
agree. At number 6, I have the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm just tired of them. I realize at this point that I'm being petty. I probably
You
should have
are.
brought them up higher. But legitimately, in my opinion, I think the other 5 teams above them are better football teams. And I think any given of the day of the week, any one of the 5 I have above here would beat them. So, there you go.
At number 5, I have the Baltimore Ravens. You're playing better. You're coming into the end of the season looking pretty good. I think you're starting to get hot at the right time. Lamar is playing really well. Overall, I'm not disappointed with you.
That's fine. At number 5, I have the Green Bay Packers. They are coming hot at the very end of the season. Something that they are known for doing, as we are both well aware. Just like last year, they barely managed playoffs and then got really good in playoffs. So there's a real chance that they could make a run. I don't know if they will. It depends on who they face in the first round, but they're coming on hot at the right time.
At number 4 is where I put the Kansas City Chiefs. Look, I'm just not impressed with your wins. I don't know how better to say it.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. At number 4, I have the Ravens. You're coming alive again, right at the right time. We'll see if you can maintain. Your defense is having some issues that make me a little worried, but overall, you're getting, again, kind of like the Packers. You're getting hot at the right time. Hopefully, you can maintain through playoffs.
At number 3, I have the Bills. I don't know what that game was, but you did win. You can't afford another one of those, though. It's the Patriots, my guys. You needed to play a little harder than that.
So at number 3, I also have the Bills. I actually didn't want to drop them because they not only did they win, and while it was a close game, it later came out confirmed that when Josh was throwing, at some point he smacked his hand on somebody, and he couldn't feel his throwing hand for a good portion of the game. And because of that, Josh, he's a tough guy. He's going to keep playing through it regardless. But there were several moments you can see him, shaking out his hand several times. And I think that's the main reason. And outside of that, you also have to contest that the Bills and Patriots, historically, for whatever reason, tend to play each other fairly close, even though it doesn't make sense. It's kind of like that interdivision rivalry, right? Like, just for some reason, that happens. It's like Vikings Packers. No matter what happens, one of us could be dumpster dog fire and still somehow win one game off of the other team that's way better. It just sometimes happens inside divisions like that.
All right. At number 2, I have the Lions. Congratulations beating the Bears this week, but everybody now beats the Bears. They started off the season looking like they might be better, and then they've been a dumpster fire for quite a while. So you beat the Bears. Yep. Whoop-de-dee!
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I have the Lions at 2. It's your win was not impressive enough to make me push you over that front half for that front team that we have, that we both probably have,
which is the Minnesota Vikings.
It's even though you can argue that the Seattle game was close. Like I said, I think that's more impressive than shit stomping a team that's really bad and everyone knows it's really bad.
Yes.
And that's basically what happened. Yeah, Lions, you had a bigger spread. Congratulations, it's the Bears.
Alrighty. So, week 17.
Mm-hmm.
Week 17.
We obviously had some games that have already happened.
Yes, but so the 2 games that have happened are Chiefs, Steelers, Ravens, Texans. So for Chiefs and Steelers, I picked the Chiefs, you picked the Steelers, and the Ravens
God,
game,
I regret that.
You do now. We'll talk about it next week when we record.
Yep.
And we both picked the Ravens against the Texans,
yep.
and that one we were both very, very sure.
We were pretty sure about that
what
one.
we were doing there.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about those games or something akin to them next week. We're also going to discuss this time who's going to take which 2 games we want to highlight for each of us. All right.
Do you want to pick the games first, and then we select which games we're going to watch?
Yes, that's what
I think that makes more sense. That way I don't have to.
Seahawks at Bears.
Seahawks.
Yeah, I agree. Chargers at Patriots.
It'll probably be actually closer than you think, but probably Chargers.
I again agree. Broncos at Bengals.
Bengals. They really need the win. I think they're going to play really hard.
You know what? I'm going to take the Broncos just because.
That's fair.
Cardinals at Rams.
Rams.
I agree. Jets at Bills.
Bills.
Yep. Titans at Jaguars.
Titans.
I'll take the Jags. Panthers at Buccaneers.
I'm doing it. Panthers. I'm doing it.
I'll take the Bucks. I may regret that.
We'll see. They could be one of those games where Baker just comes out and goes, "Nope, we need this one more than you. Fuck off."
Which is entirely possible. That's why I'm taking the Buccaneers.
Yep.
Raiders at Saints.
Raiders because Brock Bowers, and that's the only reason why.
Yeah, I'll agree with you. I don't
like.
like.
You really want to bet on that New Orleans
team? Cowboys at Eagles.
I mean, they do play each other pretty tough typically, and the Cowboys, they come off a win, but the Eagles should have this game.
Also, no CeeDee Lamb.
No CeeDee Lamb as well. Yep.
So I, again, agree with you. Colts at Giants.
Colts.
Again, yes. We all know the Giants are just flat tanking.
Yep.
Packers at Vikings.
Shedeur Sanders.
Packers at Vikings, which got flexed.
Yep. Vikings, no question.
Dolphins at Browns.
Dolphins need that win more. Dolphins.
Yeah, I think they're going to win that. Falcons.
Especially if they start TR again. Jesus
Falcons at Commanders.
Commanders.
I agree. And if the Falcons lose...
I think they could just motorboat them, you know?
If the Falcons lose and the Buccaneers win, the Buccaneers get back in control of that division.
They get back in control, yep.
Lions at Niners.
It should be Lions. I mean, the 49ers have been toothless for the last half of the season.
I agree with you. Okay, what games do you want to watch this week? Do you want to talk about?
Let's see here. I'll take Denver and Cincy for my first one.
Denver and Cincy?
Yep.
I was looking at that one too.
Yep.
I'll take Falcons and Commanders.
That's fair. That's good.
Mostly because I want to see if the Falcons are going to hang on to their division or not.
Right, I get it. Just for the shits and giggles of it, I'll take Tennessee and Jacksonville. Just to see how bad it really will get.
Is that a morning game?
Yeah, it's a noon game.
No, I'm looking for myself about a game.
Oh, sorry.
Then I will do... The other one I'll do is Panthers at Buccaneers.
Fair enough.
So I'm going to keep an eye on the NFC South this week.
Fair enough.
I'm kind of very interested in how this shakes out because the Panthers have been playing a lot better than what we would think. And the Buccaneers have a shot, and the Falcons could blow it. And I'm also kind of interested to see if Penix plays well at all. And I love watching Jaden Daniels play.
Right.
So, and we're both obviously going to watch the Packers at the Vikings.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're not going to skip that. Alrighty then. Thank you very much for that. I think we're going to skip the NHL Power Rankings this week and possibly next, just due to lack of games recently. We'll get back to that in a couple of weeks after the holidays are over. We'll talk more about the NHL stuff. Also, when we bring back in the NHL rankings, I'm gonna bring in earlier in the broadcast. I want to bring in, just for funsies, I want to bring in the depowered rankings. I would do it this week, but as we've mentioned, Chris is working on hopefully not being sick and all sorts of stuff, and has to deal with the Loki. And we kind of want to keep this as close as we can to like an hour and a half. I think we're getting close to that, so I think we're over an hour. We might be at about an hour and a half now.
We're about an hour and a half, roughly.
Yeah, so after I cut everything out, it should be about an hour and a half. So what we're going to say to you all is we'll see you back here next week when we talk about stuff. We hope you had a great set of holidays. We should be back before the new year. All of you out there, have fun, be awesome, stay awesome. Whatever you put your mind to, we believe that you can accomplish it. Stay bearded.